Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 28 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going, sir?
It's fantastic.
It's tiny little Friday.
Yeah, teeny tiny Friday.
Oh, teeny tiny Friday. More on that later. I just learned about this. So today, we're going to talk about advertising in beer. And that's from one of the ads we're going to talk about. So this should be a fun episode. But of course, before we do that, we got to do the best part of the podcast. And that's drinking beer.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll introduce my beer and give some nose notes, and then I'll hand it over to Steven to do the same. So today I'm drinking Founders. Now this is Mas Agave Clasica, and this is the lime version. I never heard of this before. This is an Imperial Gose, brewed with agave and sea salt, aged in tequila barrels, and then they add lime. So
dang, it's going to be very cocktailish, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. But not what you'd expect from a Gose, I'm sure. So pour this bad boy.
Oh, it's dark too.
Yeah, it's dark. That's probably a sign of the barrel aging. Ooh, it smells potent. Like very intense lime, and it does it smells like agave syrup, lime and agave syrup, and like there's a little bit of like an artificial smell in there, almost like a Jolly Rancher or something like that. And then maybe tequila. Okay, this one's gonna be weird. I can already tell. I'll pass it. Oh, and then sorry, I didn't talk about its appearance. Yeah, it's a darker, much darker than you'd usually see for a Gose. It's like a rich amber. The head is dissipating, but it was pretty energetic when I first poured it, and it's retaining about a centimeter. So
as I said, a decent little bit of lacing too.
Yeah, it laces a little bit too. So all right, we'll try this, and I'll let you know. What are you drinking today, Steve?
Nice. Okay, well I have two.
Two.
One's a fake beer.
Define fake beer.
So my coworker got this little sample of a non-alcoholic Heineken. Heineken 0.0 is the official name.
That's funny.
And so she brought it to me today and said, like, you have to drink this on the podcast. So I am going to try this. This is basically malted barley, a little bit of hop flavoring, whatever other flavors they put into Heineken. I'm not quite sure. But that's it. I think they kind of do that and then don't let it ferment.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's like no way, unless they like...
And they just carbonate like non-alcoholic. I don't think they like brew it and then
do some process to remove the alcohol.
Yeah, I think they just don't. I don't know. Maybe.
We should look into it.
I guess you would. Yeah, I don't know. So this one I'm just going to drink out of the can because that's probably the way I would drink it anyway. If I was ever going to drink this, it would be out of this can. It's just like a little tiny sample can. But okay, so this is just going to be a quick see if this is even decent. Okay. This is horrible. It's not horrible.
What does it taste like?
So it kind of tastes like beer. Kind of tastes like cream of wheat. It just is very like cereal grain flavor, which I guess is fine. There's malted barley in this, so that's kind of what you're getting. And then there's not a lot of hop flavor or hop bitterness in regular Heineken anyway. It'd be interesting to do it side by side with a Heineken, but kind of it's sweet, which again makes me think that maybe they just don't ferment it.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now because I'm too curious.
I think if I thought about it, like what Heineken tastes like normally, I think this is very similar. It just kind of has this like honey sweetness to it. It very much has this sort of like Bud Light, like light beer aftertaste, which is fine. Again, this is like basically drinking a crappy macro lager with no alcohol in it.
which has no effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
What
it,
this,
like
yeah.
it tastes like beer, but it tastes like cheap beer, basically.
Okay. Okay, get this. I looked it up. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
The beer starts out traditional beer ingredients: water, malted barley, and hop extract. It's twice brewed and fermented before alcohol is gently removed.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
So it is brewed. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. I like that better. And then, yeah, I wonder what the process is for getting the alcohol out. But very interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, if you are an alcoholic but you like the taste of crappy macro lager beer, there you go.
I think there's
Got a solution for you.
There's some reasons I think people drink non-alcoholic beer as well. Like maybe pregnant women, if like they're used to having a beer.
Yeah.
Or underage children that don't have access to it.
But Lagunitas has a non-alcoholic IPA now.
Have you tried that one?
I haven't tried it, but I assume it's better than this. I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb.
So thumbs down on the 0%.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to have a Heineken, I'd rather have one that's just normal. Might give me some sort of buzz.
You know, for
I drink
like
enough
a couple
of them.
years, Heineken was my favorite beer.
I mean, I was joking at work when we were, when my coworker gave it to me and we were talking like, it used to be my fancy beer. That was the beer I thought it was cool if I brought it to the softball game.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought I was really impressing people.
I mean, it is good.
Yeah, it's a decent, especially after softball beer. It's perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now on to my real beer.
Yeah, now you're real on.
Okay, sorry. Had to take a little detour there. Okay, this is from Almanac in San Francisco. It's called Dogpatch Sour.
Ooh.
It is a sour red ale aged in oak barrels with cherries.
This sounds so far up my alley.
I figured you'd appreciate this one. It's pouring a very similar color to yours, actually. Maybe a tad bit darker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a tad darker, but it has like a nice sort of amber, like reddish brown hint to it. No head, very effervescent carbonation, very lightly carbonated. Like it's effervescent with no head, but it's not crazy, not a crazy amount of carbonation. I don't know if do they can condition beers? I don't think so, huh? They probably just can them with carbonation. Yeah. I don't think it's only bottle.
Is it only bottle?
Yeah. Anyway, so all the things I don't know. Okay, here's some nose notes. Okay, so a little bit of sour funk coming off, that sort of barnyard funk. A deep cherry flavor, like a dark cherry flavor, or aroma, I should say. I'm smelling flavors here. Maybe a little lemon aroma, and definitely getting that oak very much in the nose. Okay, this should be fun.
All right, cheers, sir.
Cheers.
All right. Well, I kind of want to just say I feel like I'm just drinking a margarita. Like a lime margarita.
Told you, man, it was going to be very cocktailish.
Yeah, it's like salt, tequila, lime, a little bit sour. And then I guess maybe there's a little bit of spiciness, maybe like cinnamon, and a little bit of like barrel wood. And then it does kind of dry your mouth out at the end. The one thing I will say is it's 10% alcohol, and I don't really get it doesn't really have that booziness. So they did a good job there.
That's good. Like hiding in the sweetness, maybe, or
yeah, it's just not there. There's like almost no. I mean, there's almost no booze. A little bit. This is a lot like a margarita.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's aged in tequila barrels.
Yeah, it definitely has a tequila flavor for sure. Tequila and lime and salt.
Interesting. Now I think there's a few flavors of that, right? Like there's a prickly pear, I think I saw, and then a grapefruit maybe. I can't remember, but
yeah, I know they do a couple variants.
So mine is interesting. I wish it was more sour. That's going to be my overall complaint. A very mild carbonation, kind of playing to the mouthfeel. Doesn't feel that carbonated when you drink it. Definitely has a lot of deep cherry, like more towards like a dark fruit bitterness almost. Like it's not coming across sweet at all. especially because it's not as sour as I would like. I think it was a little bit sour. I think it would feel more cherry, but there's a lot of like cherry depth to it. Definitely getting a lot of that oak aging coming through. I think probably like the months of aging in the oak has sort of mellowed this out. The alcohol is not super high. It's like 6%, but it's certainly not there. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not a thumbs up for me.
Oh no. Is it a thumbs sideways or a thumbs down?
I don't think I would drink this again.
That's a thumbs down, my friend.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Almanac has let me down recently.
They're a little bit hit or miss, I do feel.
Yeah. I used to think they were amazing.
So has your palate improved, or has their... I feel like they've gotten more experimental. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that they were at the beginning they were an all sour beer.
I remember that they only made sours. Yep.
And then of course they had to get it on the hazy IPA game because everybody does. And their hazy IPA is pretty good. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it's good.
Is it Love Hazy IPA?
Maybe. Yeah.
And then they also have an IPA, like, do they make the Galactic IPA or something like that? That one's good too. I'll look it up.
I don't remember that one, but I do remember the Love Hazy. Yeah, it's decent. And then I feel like their sours have gotten worse. I remember the Davis Beer Shop had a Almanac Gose on tap, and I was like, oh, I'm sure that's gonna be amazing. You know, like an all sour beer company, like I'm sure it's gonna be good. And I feel like it was like a blackberry Gose or something. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. It was like
really?
It was like, it tasted very much like an American sour, which is more of what they do in general. Are the American sours, which we should do a deep dive on that style because it is a very interesting style. They tend to be more like fruity and boozy with some of that oak aging.
Yes.
Or like taking like a blonde ale and souring it. That's very, very common. I know Rare Barrel does that too.
Okay.
They do that, like they have their base sour golden ale or sour blonde, and then they just like do hundreds of variations on it with different fruits and spices and things like that. So I was just like, why? Like, this is not right. Like they made it taste like an American sour, and it just was wrong. So anyway, that was kind of the last time I was very unimpressed by Almanac. This one, I don't know. It's not bad. It's definitely a red ale, giving a little bit of that Flanders notes too. Some of that, like maybe a vinegar flavor to it. So it's definitely giving me those red ale flavors too. But the cherry just, I don't know, it falls flat with me because I think it could be a tiny bit more sour and it would be better.
Fair enough.
So.
Yeah, they make Tropical Galaxy. That was the one.
Oh, okay.
And we drank that together, I think.
Yeah, I feel like we have.
And I like that one. All right, fair enough. Well, maybe I'll try to see if I can find one. I don't think I would like it either because I like mine. I like it too. I like really sours. So. Yeah,
I feel like you could probably find this.
Yeah, I think I could. I can usually find most of the Almanac stuff. So. All right, cool. Well, that was our drinking beer segment. So I think this is a double thumbs down.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, this is good, I think. I don't know. If I want to drink a margarita, I'm going to drink a margarita. So they do make prickly pear and grapefruit. So maybe, I think prickly pear might be more interesting. Yeah. Maybe I'll see if I can get that one.
Maybe. It's probably just a prickly pear margarita.
Exactly, yeah. But this has a high rating. I mean, people must like it. No, it's not for me. I
don't trust people.
Only trust myself.
I mean, Sour Wench won gold at the Great American Beer Festival, so.
That is a mystery of the ages.
Hey, so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to Disneyland this week, and we're going to for sure go to Ballast Point in downtown Disney.
Okay.
Have you been there?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. So I think we've talked about how Ballast Point, like they sold out to Constellation for $1 billion or whatever.
Yeah, we
And
covered
then,
that,
yeah, now they're back with like Kings and Convicts from Chicago. So
right?
now they're technically independent again, which is cool. I was looking at the menu though, because do you look at menus before you go to restaurants, or are you normal?
No, I will look at a tap list. So now, like you just telling me this story, I had like a burning desire to flick over to the other screen and open the tap list because I want to know what they make now that they're back independent. So no, I'm not normal at all. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just like one of those people. Like I know the menu before I go to a restaurant. Like I already know what I'm gonna get.
You already know what you're gonna order? Okay,
Yeah.
That's pretty freakish, not gonna lie.
I don't like to go there and then be like sitting there looking, because like if you go to a restaurant with friends, you start talking to them, and then the waiter comes by and they're like,
That's
like, and you're like, I haven't even looked at the menu because I'm like talking to my friends,
That actually is one of my pet peeves now that you mention it. Okay,
Yeah.
we're very similar in this regard. Because if we go to the restaurant and everyone's just talking, and I know, okay, so here we're going on a tangent.
Okay, we're going
real fast.
Let's do it.
I work at a restaurant, and pay attention to this because this will happen. This is a real phenomenon. If the waiter or waitress comes and asks you if you're ready, so usually they'll swing by once to get like a drink order, and then they'll swing by a second time to get like a food order.
Right.
If the table is not ready to order that first time, not the drink order, but the first time they come for the food order, you will not see them again for like 10 minutes because they're gonna deprioritize you in their brain, and they're gonna catch up with all their other tables and stuff like that, and then they're gonna come back. So it's critical, especially if you're like in a little bit of a time crunch, like you're seeing a movie after, that you place that food order. So if we sit down, I usually know what I'm gonna order. If it's a new restaurant, I guess I give a little leeway here. But when everyone just starts chatting and I don't see a single menu cracked, I just feel the dread of like, oh, our order's not going in for like half an hour and we're going to be here forever. And I am pretty introverted, so I enjoy the company of others, but only for like a finite amount of time. So that is one thing I'm hypersensitive to. Yeah. So, okay, I'm totally on board with your knowing what to order now.
Yeah. And it's even worse. Well, okay, so it's somewhat driven by my my need to like, I don't know, like do things as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So I don't like making people wait behind me longer than they should reasonably have to. So what is even a bigger deal is at drive-thrus. Okay, because sometimes you can't even see the menu until you get up there and they're asking for your order, and I hate that. So even at like a drive-thru, lots of times I'll have already looked at the menu, especially if there's like a long enough line too, like of cars that I have time. I'm looking at the menu on my phone, deciding what I want before I get up to the thing.
Steven, we've known each other for like 20 plus years. And this is the first time I'm finding out you have this tiniest touch of social anxiety. I would have never guessed in 1,000 years.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get self-conscious if you're taking too long to order because you like imagine everyone behind you is getting like impatient. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Because I would be getting impatient. If I were them,
You'd be like, "Come on, dude."
Okay.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that was quite a tangent, but we have beer news. This is the next.
Yeah. How did we even get there?
We started talking about Almanac.
Oh yeah.
And how they've gone off the rails, and then we went off the rails.
Whew, that was crazy. No. Okay, wait. We have to take it back. It wasn't Almanac. It was Ballast Point.
Oh right. Sorry, that was
okay. So I'm going to Ballast Point in downtown Disney, and I was looking at the tap list prior and the menu because I have to know what I'm going to order when I get there.
Yeah.
And they have a sour wench, and it's the only sour they have on tap, and it's a barrel-aged version. Barrel-aged in white wine barrels, I think.
I can't remember. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only sour they have on tap. Are you
going to try it?
Maybe. I'll probably try it. And then they have like a couple versions of Sculpin Like they have the Aloha Sculpin, which is like more of a tropical Sculpin. They have a habanero Sculpin. They've had that one for a while, I think.
They have.
Yeah.
That one's fun, but you don't want to drink a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't want to drink too much of anything with habanero.
It's like a novelty. Those really, really spicy beers are kind of a novelty.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe I'll do a flight with like a bunch of different stuff.
That's the way to go. Especially if you're not driving.
Do it Jason style.
Just go Jason style. A little bit of everything.
So anyway, that's my plan at Ballast Point Disney.
Okay, I'm excited for you. We need a full report when you return.
For sure.
Okay, now we can do beer news.
Okay.
And you have the beer.
Oh, it's me.
It's you.
It's me. Sorry, yeah.
It's the well, I know what it is.
Yeah, so I just saw this the other day and I sent it to Jason. I was like, we have to do beer news on this.
This is gonna be wildly popular. That's my prediction.
So this is Budweiser announcing that they are making it's called Bud Light Next, and it is a zero carb beer.
Zero.
First major brewer to launch a zero.
I was gonna say, is this the first like major zero carb beer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is gonna be insanely popular because I feel like keto, all that stuff is really well. It's been popular for a while, but like the enemy of those diets is beer.
Yeah, for sure.
So solve that problem.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because it's kind of a flip on like what I just drank, the Heineken 0.0, where you have a beer with still like the malted barley and carbs in it, albeit fairly low, and then no alcohol. This is the flip side of that, where it's zero carb, but the alcohol is there. So, I mean, it's still very low. I think it's like 3.5% or something like that. But it's there, and you don't have to count the carbs.
Because when you're in keto, what's the max number of carbs you can have like in a day? It's low,
and I think
right?
if you're being strict, it's like less than 30 grams.
Yeah.
And it's probably even less than that if you're like true keto.
So sneaking beers in is not easy.
Nope. Not at all. So
that's like the number one reason I've never tried that.
Maybe if you like went long enough and got like keto adapted and then you only drank like once a month.
So the problem with that is
it wouldn't kick you out of keto. But the problem with that is you have a weekly
once
beer
a
podcast.
Month. Yeah, once a month, Steven. Come on now. So what's it called again? Budweiser Next?
Bud Light Next.
So they did a terrible job naming that. Do you know why?
Yep. Why?
Do you know why they call it? Okay, this is another insight into public service. Do you know, this is my personal theory. I don't know if it's true. I would love to validate this with Coke or Pepsi. Do you know why this is my theory. Do you know why they call Coke Zero? Like, these are the newest wave of diet sodas. They've been out for a while, but they're the newest generation. They're we talked about Dr. Pepper Zero.
Yeah.
The reason they call them Zero in the title is because I think people used to think diet soda had calories in it. But diet soda has 0 calories. Like Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke is already 0 calories. Yeah. But people used to come, when I used to work at the theater, I used to ask people this because a lot of people would get half Coke. This is a very common order. People get a half Coke, half Diet Coke, like a large soda.
Gross.
Yes. And then I would ask people about it, like, why do you drink this? Blah, blah, blah. And we'd always get into the like diet soda question, and they would always think it had less calories, but not realize they had no calories. So I think when they were like, okay, we're
like
making
diet to them seems like there's a reduced number.
Yes,
like it still has
exactly.
calories, but just reduced from.
But it was 0. So I think they came out with the newest diet soda, which is like the zeros, they were like, we're just gonna call it zero. They call it zero sugar, but like they want 0 in the name, like because then it makes it clear to you like this has nothing. So I think they should have called it like Budweiser 0 carb or something like that.
Yep.
Just
why not? Why not just Bud Light
explicitly
0?
State it. Yeah. And then ride the coattails.
Because that's obviously not like if Coke Zero and you have Coke Zero and Pepsi Zero, it's obviously not like a trademark. Like they could have just done Bud Light 0.
Yeah, I think you can say 0. I don't think you can like trademark that. So.
Or Bud Light 0 sugar. probably. That's what they should have done because
Yes.
yeah, because you don't want to. If you do Bud Light Zero, maybe people think it's non-alcoholic because that's a thing now. So
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so don't call it Bud Light Zero. Call it,
Bud Light Zero carb.
Zero sugar, zero carb.
Just be like direct, right? Instead of
Be direct in your...
just name it what it is instead of Bud Light Zero carb.
Yeah, exactly. Like don't make people learn like a new lingo or a name.
What's Bud Light next?
Exactly. It's like the Xbox. They're terrible at naming. Xbox X, Xbox One X, PlayStation just names them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not complicated. Like I don't.
What happened to that? That's I always laugh about iPhones. Like they went like what, like 8? Did they skip 9?
I think they skipped 9 because it was the 10th anniversary.
X,
yeah.
But which is 10, but like Roman numeral. So you're like, do you call it the iPhone XR or the 10R? Like they screwed that one up.
And now they're back onto
the numbers. Like, oh, whoops! I think they realized nobody knows what to call
count
this.
them. It's not complicated, people. Anyways, well, that's a good.
Dumb now. Just dumb it down.
Yeah, dumb it down. People don't have time for this. They don't have time to Google Budweiser next.
Okay, so let me tell you my favorite part of this article.
Okay.
So this is market driven. That's why they're doing this, because they see a spot in the market for this. Because I think they are realizing in some ways, well, the people want low calorie things, but they want the alcohol still. So I think the non-alcoholic beer thing, I think there's a area for that, but I just don't think it's a big market. But the best part of this article is when it says that hard seltzer sales are plummeting.
Really? Did they say why?
No, it's just not the market share that they thought it was going to be.
Good riddance.
Told you so.
That's why. That's the real reason.
And you know what? There's not a single brewery out there that can be like, we knew it. We didn't do it. We didn't buy into that, because they all freaking have it.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's amazing.
So
good.
I mean, I'm sure maybe there's a brewery out there that's.
The sooner craft breweries stop wasting their time brewing that swill, the better.
Yeah. Agreed. I called Toppling Goliath out for it on Instagram.
Did they respond?
They respond. They always respond. I love Toppling Goliath for that. Actually, they have a great social media manager.
What'd they say?
Basically, my comment was something like, it was a post about their hard seltzer release, and I said, like, just for the record, I love you guys, but I do not like this, or I don't think this should not be a thing. And they said something like, get used to it, or maybe you should try it.
Oh, yeah. That's good marketing. You should try it first. There you go. Sales. That's a really good marketing.
Buy a case that you taste one and throw away.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, that's our beer news. Hard seltzer sales down. Bud Light next. Zero carb beer coming and misnamed. Yes, horribly named.
Well, that's an excellent segue into the main topic.
Mm-hmm.
Advertising in beer.
Good and bad.
I also feel like we're going to date ourselves in this topic, but
like we should just not talk about the Budweiser frogs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Great commercial though.
That's gotta be like one of the most successful beer commercials of all time.
I mean, I think if you can, just the fact that you can remember it, right? I mean, how many commercials do you like really remember? And that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, Budweiser is, I think, one of the best advertisers when it comes to the beer universe, because that one, they did that for a while, and I think I was too young to even drink Budweiser when those came out.
Yeah, I know I was, for sure.
But the frogs. We love the frogs.
Yep. No, I thought it was hilarious. I didn't even know it was for beer, maybe. You know, it was like, it's just so funny.
Yeah. And so, nonsensical, but memorable.
Yeah. I always think advertising like that is funny when you can almost like don't know what it's for. You know, like it's just like a funny ad, but you're like, oh, that was for beer? That's weird.
Yes. Or, well, they try to get you to think about it or whatever. It's funny because
Yeah.
I'm rewatching Mad Men with my wife. I'm getting my wife to watch it. I'm super excited. And so it's funny when you suggested this topic. I was like, oh, it's like advertising is on my brain.
I never watched that show.
Ah, you should watch it. It's really good. The first couple episodes are a little rough, but it gets quite good. You're like in the right position in life to watch it too. Because it's one of those shows that I think if you watched when you were like a teenager, you'd appreciate. You probably wouldn't even like it, but you might appreciate it in certain ways. But like now that you're like married, you have kids, you could definitely you probably wouldn't identify with the main character, but you could kind of at the point where he's at. So like the lens would make more sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of media and books that are, in certain cases, it's like they're different depending on when you read them or when you're exposed to them, like what stage of life you're in. So, but yeah, it's a lot of that is about advertising, and it's like more or less some of it is based on true advertising. So, but yeah, Budweiser, because they had the frogs, and they had the horses.
Yeah, the Clydesdale horses.
Everyone loves that.
That was more like emotional. Like the Budweiser frogs were funny.
Yes.
The Clydesdale's very like tug on your heartstrings, with the puppy like chasing after him or whatever, and yeah.
Yep.
And those were, I don't know if they started as Super Bowl ads, or I feel like they did. Like that ad campaign started during the Super Bowl.
Well, and that's the other thing is like Super Bowl ads were, I feel like nowadays they're not as good.
They're horrible now.
And I don't know. So I'm of two minds. I wonder if that's because we have like TikTok and YouTube and all, like when we were kids and we watched Super Bowl ads, they're almost like short YouTube videos or TikToks, like before that medium existed in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So you were seeing these like highly experimental, interesting short stories or ads, and there was nothing else like that. So it like blew your mind. But now it's like we're saturated with that stuff. So it's not special anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like even now, like there's very few TikToks that like really make me laugh. And it's the same, like, again, like you said, we're oversaturated now. Like, it really does take a lot to make me laugh. Whereas I look back at those commercials and, like, I probably wouldn't laugh at them now. Or maybe I would, but some of the funny ones. But I was laughing then.
Oh,
you know? Like, it was the funniest thing I had seen in a long time. Like, the Doritos, they always had, like, really good, funny Super Bowl commercials, too. But
you should do an experiment on your children. Show them the Budweiser ad with the frogs and see if they like it.
All right, they probably won't.
Or if they're like, Dad, this is so lame, then you'll know.
Well, even like I was looking back at some old beer commercials. A few of them were, I think, in the UK or whatever. And obviously their humor is a little bit different anyway. But yeah, a few of them I was like, the way they explained them in like some of the articles I was reading on past beer campaigns, they were like, this is one of the best beer campaigns of all time. And I was like watching the ad thinking, okay, this is weird and it's not funny. But I'm sure a part of that is because like at the time, it probably was a super funny commercial.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah, we're destroying our own brains like in as fast as possible. We're just like desensitizing ourselves to novelty in the shortest order until nothing amuses us anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the advertising game in general, I mean, it's not really a landscape I would want to try to traverse anyway as a company because it's so hard now. You know, like you're fighting so much for people's attention span. You know, when they had 10 channels, if right. Even that, you didn't have to fight over the attention span. You knew what they were what they were watching and when they were watching. And now you don't know.
Yeah, plenty of people don't. I don't watch TV. Like,
yeah, I don't watch live TV.
So I get all the. Well, that's a good dovetail into because we watch like Hulu and stuff, and that's First of all, how lame is it that you have to pay for Hulu and you still have to watch ads?
You know, we have to pay a little bit more, and then you won't get ads.
Oh, there's another tier?
Yeah, there's a no ad level.
Oh, I should jump to the no ad level.
Well, that's the other thing, too. That's why, like, as a company, it is hard to navigate this landscape because people want, at this point, they can pay a little bit more and just not even see any ads at all.
Yeah, I don't want to see ads. But you do see, actually, the fun thing about Hulu ads is they're terrible. They're like, they put the experimental ones on there. I showed you that Coke Zero one when we were getting ready for the episode.
Yeah,
and
what
it's
was
like,
that?
I don't know. There are all these really weird ads, and you feel like you're so confused. You don't know what's going on. And at the end, this weird voice is like, "You just gotta try it first." And I'm like, dude, they're like gauging if this is worth putting on like a larger platform.
That's great.
Yeah, I didn't like those ads. But yeah, but you know what's cool is I've seen, so getting back to beer though, I've seen Sierra Nevada advertise like on Hulu.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
I've seen their ads on Facebook.
Okay. And I don't know, it's probably, for me, it's probably like regional that I'm seeing them, because I mean they distribute everywhere now, but
yeah, but maybe it's,
yeah. And it's weird to see a Sierra Nevada ad.
Yeah,
it's so strange.
Very strange. I guess, like, in my mind, because you just don't see a lot of craft beer commercials in general, like on like your TV ads. I mean, even Sam Adams, I think, would be kind of the only, and that's sort of a macro craft, you know. So you just don't see a lot of. I mean, I guess Sierra Nevada in some ways is reaching that point, right? They've national distribution. You find them anywhere. Every grocery store has it. So I feel like it probably has reached that Sam Adams level where advertising, I guess, is, and you're in a crowded competition now. You know,
Yeah.
if you have the distribution and the exposure, why not just push out a few ads and get people to maybe steer towards your beer?
Yeah, I feel like they're starting to compete with the big boys.
Yeah.
And that's maybe when you start to bring on that like national level advertising, because all the macro beers have doing it. Like we were talking about Budweiser, but you know, like Coors Light, they've been advertising forever, and I don't know, their ads always annoy me. Because they always try to like
cold filtered.
Yeah, they're always like, oh, use mountain
with the best water,
ice cold mountain spring water, and it's like, you guys, it's just Coors. Like, it's fine.
The Blue Mountains thing. The mountains turning blue in the cold when it's cold.
Oh, the cold activated
greatest can design ever.
Okay, you know what? That I'll give you credit there. That was pretty cool.
Like, don't drink it
until the can turns blue.
Until the mountains turn blue. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. My only counter is that you ever drink a really good beer?
Yes.
You ever notice how they get a little bit better when they warm up?
Not so with Coors Light.
Do you know why you drink Coors Light as cold as humanly possible?
Because it hides all the flaws.
That's right. That's right.
Why you chill bad wine.
Yeah, it's the same thing with sake. I didn't know this, but because like I'm a noob when it comes to sake, but I always like it when they serve you the warm sake. If they heat it up. But apparently the reason they heat it up is to mask flaws. Like the really good sake. Yeah, really good sake you don't drink warm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wish I could rename this beer that I'm drinking.
To what?
From Dogpatch sour to dog poop sour.
You hate it that much, huh?
I don't know. It's not getting better.
You haven't poured it out yet.
No, I'm drinking it. It's Oh, look at you. You're almost done with that.
My margarita.
I'm still drinking it because it's what's in front of me and I can't go get anything else. But
you don't always finish things you don't like.
That's true. Yeah.
So you might like it a little tiny bit.
Well, it's weird. Sometimes I drink things and I keep drinking them thinking, yeah, I'm sure it's just an acquired taste.
You're like, I'm going to acquire it in a single glass.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, though, like, there are a lot of things that in the beer world that I didn't think I would ever like that I like now. So I like to give things a chance, especially from a brewery that, look, I said I've been disappointed by them, but I know that they have they have a good brewery program, like a good sour program. So I don't know. Sometimes I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's fair.
And think maybe like, oh, maybe this is just a beer that I don't understand, or I don't understand the complexities of it.
No, that's good. That's a good attitude. Good approach.
Yeah. But I don't know if I like it. I don't think I like it. All right. Well, thinking about sort of some of my favorite beer commercials, especially from the macro beers. I love the Dos Equis Most Interesting Man.
Those were amazing.
Yeah. I think they kind of played on that like Chuck Norris joke.
Yeah,
the whole
bit.
Like
Chuck Norris can do anything.
Yeah. It's kind of that.
You're right. I never noticed that, but it is a little bit of that.
Did you ever think, like, at the very beginning of that ad campaign, did you ever think, like, is this a real person?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I was like, wait, are they talking about, like,
it's like based on somebody?
Yeah. And then you got deeper into it, you're like, oh, okay, it's a joke.
The most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis. It's a great line.
Yeah,
and it's a highly memed line now, too.
Yeah, that was brilliant advertising. You know what's funny, though? If there was a most interesting man in the world, and he didn't always drink beer, but when he did, you know what it wouldn't be? Dos Equis.
Dos Equis?
It'd be like Gose.
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like original Gose from the original brew that he had like a secret stash of. He wouldn't drink something anyone can buy at the bar.
Yeah.
There's something interesting about that.
Yeah.
So there, I poo-pooed on your most interesting man. But I love those ads. Those were actually really cool.
Yeah. And anything that lives on forever in a meme form, I feel like wins.
Yeah, if it lives on
some level. If it lives on Reddit, then you're good.
You graduated into the eternal.
So I think we mentioned we wanted to talk about can art a little bit.
Yes.
What are your feelings on can art?
I love can art so much. I'm very influenced by can art, so it works on me. Like, if I'm trying to decide between something, and then the can art is dope, and I'm
judging a book by its cover.
I do judge books by their cover. I remember there was like a sour, like a red sour. I'll have to look it up, but it's like a cat. This like super cool cat, and he's all dressed up like in a suit and like a monocle, and he's drinking it like out of a wine glass. And I was like, dude, this beer is so cool. Like, so I think that helps. Like, at least for me, but I'm highly impressionable. But like, I hate like modern times. They have the most boring can art of all time.
Oh my gosh, I agree.
Because I see where they're going with it. Like, they're trying to be informative, which I do appreciate. But everything is the same like template of like, this is the beer, this is the style, here's the facts about it. I want to be inspired. Like when I saw that, what's the most recent beer I drank that was amazing? The Below the Surface. It was the one with the Phantasm powder.
Oh, okay. From Anchorage?
Yes.
Was it from Anchorage?
Yes.
Was it?
I think so. And it was like the girl, but like she was underwater, and then the part of her that was underwater was like a skeleton.
Yeah.
So cool, dude. I don't know. I love can art. I think that's like it is a way to market, at least in my dumb brain.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for years, if I got sent to the store to get a bottle of wine, like, oh, she'd be like, my wife would be like, oh, get a Pinot Noir. I'm like, okay. And I just like look around and be like, oh, that looks like a cool bottle. It was just, do you have a cool label? Okay, I'm going to buy it.
I remember the best wine I ever saw, because I would do kind of the same thing. Because like you and I are similar, we like do a ton of research, but like I'm not going to try to research wine because the wine universe is massive.
Yeah, it's too big.
And I know nothing about it, so I can't penetrate it. But I remember I was looking for a gift for someone, and there was a wine called Educated Guess. I think they make like 3 or 4 now. It was like the educated guess Pinot Noir. And I was like, whoever made this bottle is a genius. Because it worked on me. Because it literally said, like, if you don't know what to get somebody, you get them.
Just get this.
Yeah.
That's great. I think there is an appeal to can art too these days because of the digital media and the is it Instagrammable?
That makes sense.
So there's some breweries like Great Notion. They have that like cartoonish can art. That's great. It's fantastic. Resident Culture in Reno, they have this fantastic can art that's just very creative. We just mentioned Anchorage. Adroit Theory, this very, very dark.
Post-apocalyptic, yeah.
Yeah, they're all metalheads there at that brewery, so they have that sort of metalhead. Yeah, very cool.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So anyway, some of the like 903 brewers like that have their slushy series. Some of those have some like really very fun, cartoonish, very highly Instagrammable can art. So that's kind of some of the advertising in the digital age. If you can catch people's eye with your can art,
it works on me for sure.
Yeah.
Because I always get to the point where I'm like, ooh, I should collect cool cans. But then I have like minimalism is like like dug into me from because I moved like 14 times before like I bought a house that I learned to like shed everything that isn't essential. But now I have a house I can fill it with junk. I could start collecting cans.
Yeah, you could.
But then I don't know, where are we going to put them?
Yeah. I did that for a little while. I even I saved like my first Pseudo Sue bottle for a long time, and then I had like a bigger bomber bottle of some sort of like Galaxy dry hopped Pseudo Sue or something, and it was a cool looking bottle, but eventually I got rid of it because that's kind of what I do. I'm like you. I'm very minimalist, and if I really stop to think. Because I'll get like I'll put a little bit of sentimental attachment to something like that, and then if I think about it like long enough after a while, I go like, really, it's this really silly attachment. I just toss it.
And you never miss it. That's the thing.
No, yeah, no, I never think about it again.
I never think about it again.
Okay. Well, that's can art. I was gonna mention when we talked about like successful ad campaigns for craft beer. Because there's so much of this like local level brewing now. You're like community brewery. They're not doing a lot of like print ads or TV ads or anything like that. And maybe they're on Instagram, but that you only see them really if you follow them. So I do like that there's a kind of a community sense to these breweries that they want to give back to the community. So I've seen a lot of like brewery events where they're raising money for local charities or like pet animal shelters. There's this really cool one I was reading about in Lubbock, Texas, by this brewery. I can't remember the thing was called Bites and Brews, and essentially what they were doing these lunchtime during the week educational seminars where they would bring certain like industry leaders in and like community members that had expertise in something about like some sort of tech issue or starting a business or just multiple different educational topics, and they would just have these little like free seminars for an hour that you could do. You could go and grab a beer and some food and listen to this thing. So I just thought that was cool, like community outreach, giving back to the community, having events at your brewery. Those are the kind of local advertising marketing campaigns that are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Because I do feel like local or like smaller craft breweries, it is like they like live and die by the community, right? Because especially if they're not like distributing, they need to be, the people that are around them need to enjoy them. So that's like a really cool way to get more involved and become like an icon of the community.
Yeah. Well, you remember being in Balebreaker Brewing in Yakima, and it was just like. For me, it was like this huge deal. Like I was at this brewery that I've been like I've gotten a few beers from that I like love. It's amazing. I follow them on Instagram. Like they're like in the middle of these hop fields and hop country. It's just amazing. And when you get there, it's just a bunch of locals. And it was like they all know each other, and this is crazy.
That was really cool. Like, I don't know, it felt like you were crashing a party or something like that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But it makes sense because they're out in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely these smaller community breweries are very much relying on word of mouth and community outreach. Pretty
well,
cool.
And you did, you teased it, but I know we were going to talk about like Instagram.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, influencers.
Yep.
Which we are not.
Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting, hey, we have a lot of followers, okay? What is interesting, though, is that, like, they are getting a lot of free advertising. You know, like, maybe some of the influencers with the most followers, like, huge number of followers, maybe they'll get boxes of beer sent to them from breweries that, you know, they want them to try and review on Instagram or something like that. But I don't think it's a huge thing. Like, I think it exists, but I don't think it's a huge thing.
Gotcha. So what is the motivation of these like beer lifestyle accounts? They're just,
I don't know. They're just trying to get enough followers to, I don't know, monetize their posts. Yeah. I guess I assume that's what they're trying to do.
That makes sense. I mean, people are doing that with everything, right?
Yeah. I saw a pretty funny, like, it was a meme about how like every single craft beer post is like the same. You know, like you're posting this picture of your beer and you're hashtagging Beerstagram on it, and you think you're like changing the world, you know, changing someone's life by introducing them to that beer that you're drinking.
Well, it's like
really.
The other thing is like so incestuous. Like my tangential hobby, which is also stupid, is watches. And I feel like in the watch Instagram universe, it's like it's all the same people. It's just one echo chamber, right? And I'm sure like you live more in the Beerstagram universe because you mostly run the Instagram account. Yeah. But it's like you've self-selected for the people that like this thing the most, which is already like a sliver of a sliver of a sliver that they're like weird enough to run an account about it. And then they're all posting the exact same thing and all liking each other's thing. Like, yeah, good job, man. Good job, man. And it's like this stupid echo chamber that like, if you showed it to any normal person, they like their eyes would kind of widen. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is how you spend your time. Like there's a thing that people do in the watch universe where I don't even know what to call it. It's like the meta loser post. It's where I shouldn't be so harsh, but I really hate this picture. And people do it. They'll have like the watch book where they're looking at an article about the watch and then they're wearing that watch and they've staged a photo. So imagine this. They have to like get the book. They have to put on the watch. They have to get a tripod and set up the camera to take a picture of themselves reading about a watch that they're wearing on their wrist that then they post to Instagram for other people that own that watch to upvote and like. It's like, if this isn't the most like self-aggrandizing, like narcissistic, sociopathic behavior, I don't know what is. Like, you're literally staging a shot of yourself reading a book. So other people Jason, can upvote it.
Tell us how you really feel.
I don't think the beer universe is that bad, though.
Oh, I think it's worse.
Is it worse? Like, what's the most?
Well, I mean,
like shots.
Okay, so when I pour a beer out, I have my one spot where I like take my beer photo, and I basically know how to take that picture now. So I pour my beer. And I just and it's really funny because my wife every once in a while will be like, "Do you want me to do like a reel of be like pouring it and stuff?" And I'm like, "No, please, no." Like, I'm gonna take my simple picture. It takes me like 2 seconds to do, and that's it. And I know like what lights I need to have on and off, like for the best lighting, and then I just do that, and it's so quick. But like I see some of these other ones, like they're very professional. Like not just the picture of the beer, which is incredible itself because they like have it like just barely pouring over, like just overflowing on the glass. Like I'm like, how do they even do that? And but then there's all these like scenery setups and like props and things, and I'm like, dude, that's next level.
Yeah,
I guess that's why they have way more followers than me. But yeah, it's really funny too because some people will like take really cool photos and they'll say like what beer it is and stuff, but they don't review it. Because that's like apparently it's sort of a worn out trope of like, oh yeah, I'm getting notes of this and this and this and this, and it's great, and it's like the same thing every time.
Wait, are you saying our whole podcast is already a trope that's about?
A worn out trope? No.
No, we're late to the game.
It's whatever. I love the podcast, so.
Yeah, me too. I just like talking to you, buddy.
Okay, so I haven't talked about my absolute most favorite. Well, okay, before I get there, I wanted to mention this R&B Brewing in Vancouver that did the green screen can. So this is a very pandemic-related marketing campaign because everyone's on these like Zoom meetings now from home, and like if you're working from home, like why can't you just have a beer while you're working, right?
True.
Yeah.
I'm not driving.
So they have this green screen can, which is just like completely green can, and they have this like step-by-step instructions on their website of how to like use it during your Zoom call so that like you like change the background or whatever. Anyway, it makes it look like you have nothing in your hand.
Or you can make it look like Coke can.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you can drink your beer on your Zoom meeting.
That's amazing.
It's pretty funny. And there was like a whole ad with the guy doing it, and it's pretty funny. Yeah. So I thought that was very brilliant for like
clever.
Yeah, for these days with like with the changing landscape of how we interact with each other and how we work. I thought that was pretty funny. But I want to talk about my favorite beer commercials are the Kona Brewing commercials. I introduced Jason to these tonight.
I wasn't familiar with them, but we watched a bunch right before we started recording, and now I'm obsessed with them.
We were obsessed with it at my last job, and we would just always say like, "One life, right?" Or we would talk about, or we would say "Happy Teeny Tiny Friday." If you don't know, like Teeny Tiny Friday is Monday, because we should have more than just one Friday. You should have Little Friday, Teeny Tiny Friday. Every day should be like Friday. Because
Little Friday was Thursday.
Yeah.
But they do the amazing thing where like they're brothers or whatever, and then they're kind of like going on a tangent, but then they synchronize like at some point where they say the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
My favorite one was Sad Hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Why just one happy hour?
Yeah. Why not just one happy hour? We know 20. You guys have to, we know you guys have to you have to work and you have to make spreadsheets and stuff like that. But that should just should all happen during
Sad Hour.
Sad Hour.
Yeah, then have 23 happy hours.
Yeah, 1 hour is sadness where you do the stuff that you don't like, and the other 23 hours is drinking Kona beer.
Or the single tasking, Stop multitasking and sending emails about meetings and about emails. Nope. Just single task and drink Kona beer.
Okay, the single tasking thing is a real thing, though. Because you should do that. You should, if you want to enjoy a really nice beer, and that should be the only thing you're doing.
Yeah, just the beer.
Just pour it in a glass, look at it, smell it, drink it. Don't do anything else. Don't look at your phone. Don't talk to other human beings. They're boring anyways. Just become one with the beer and enjoy that moment. I like that a lot because it spoke to me on multiple levels.
Yep.
Because I do feel myself, I'm fragmented now. And I wasn't before. It's happened in like the last 2 years. And it's like my wife is much younger than me and she likes to be doing like multiple things at a time. And I never understood that. And now I find myself wanting to do it. And I'm like, oh no, my brain is damaged.
Yeah, it's so true. So true.
So you should single task things.
Yeah. Simplify your life.
Yes. You don't need
one life, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're looking at something on the internet,
Don't.
you don't also need a YouTube video playing in the background that you're not paying attention to anyways.
Yep, I agree.
But I love those Kona ads. So where would you see those? Have you ever seen one on TV or?
Yeah, I used to see it on TV all the time.
Okay. Because Kona's a pretty big deal too, huh?
Yeah, pretty widely distributed.
Because
I like their beers.
Can you get like the Kona variety pack at your grocery store? Okay, yeah. They're everywhere then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like their beers too. They're like solid. They're like if you buy a variety pack at Costco, Kona's like a really good choice because you're gonna get like 24 beers for like a really good price, and it's not gonna blow you away, but it's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a good pack to like take to a party or something.
Yeah, if
you brought like a pool party and just have a nice variety of solid beers.
Yeah, they're all solid, and people, especially like if they're not super huge beer snobs like us, they're gonna be like, "Oh, these are good." So
yeah, exactly.
They actually make one of my wife's favorite beers. They're Pog juice beer.
I've never had that one.
She loves Pog. What is Pog? Pineapple, orange, guava juice.
Yeah.
And they have a IPA that's like Pog inspired. It's
nice.
It's really good.
I like all those flavors in my IPA for sure.
Yeah. Should we advertise for ourselves?
I mean, it's certainly a game I play, but it's mostly just like a sticker, a Attenuation Podcast sticker on the back of my truck.
Do you really have one on your car?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I should put
we both do.
Well, I have this.
My wife and I have them on our cars.
I used this today.
Oh, yeah. You have the Attenuation Beer Podcast officially licensed bottle opener.
Which is really on brand, right?
Yes.
A bottle opener makes sense for our podcast.
Yeah.
We should. So when we get to 10,000 followers on Instagram, so in like 2025, we should sell these.
Yep.
But not yet. It's too early. There's not enough demand.
Yeah, we can't make bulk orders of those things yet.
I don't think so. But if you want to help us get to 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can follow us there at attenuation.podcast. Or if you want to email us. When was the last time you checked the email, Steven?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say like 3 months ago.
No, I check it every day. I check my email a lot of the times.
Oh, good job.
A day.
So, did you get that love note I sent you?
Yeah.
I didn't really send you one. But it's contact.attenuation@gmail.com. So yeah, those are the two main ways you can get in touch with us. And let us know your favorite beer ad. Maybe we missed one.
Yeah, DM us your favorite beer commercial.
Or your favorite can art. I want to see some dope can art.
Yeah, for sure.
So. All right, sir. Well, I think that's a wrap on episode 28. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
And we are bidding you adieu and saying cheers till next week for episode 29.
All right, cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!